Hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to my live on YouTube, my first YouTube live. I'm learning how to do this, so bear with me, please. I'm not sure where to look at, but I hope that it's working. Dedican live. For some reason, it says that it's upcoming, and I can't see myself. Anyway, I'm here. There's no one yet, and so hopefully some people will join. The whole purpose of me doing a live is to do on YouTube what I have started to do on TikTok. And essentially, the whole purpose of me doing a live. No, it's working. Is to do on YouTube. Okay, let me forget about this. I'm going to focus on this screen now. The whole purpose of the live is for me to talk to people and give them some advice. And so anyone who's got any question about anything at all, just ask me. And basically, for those who don't know me, I am a therapist, coach, and author. I specialize in depression, anxiety, addiction, self-sabotage, and anger issues, amongst other things. But those are my specialisms. And I do lives to spread some advice, some help, some recommendations as much as I can in regards to any of those things. And we can talk about anything to do with the minds. And so psychology, human behavior, therapy, mindset, mindfulness, mental health, and even a dash of spirituality. So if any of you has got any question at all, as soon as I get a question, I will get started. I can see there's one person. That's a start. And so let me, in the meantime, so what I normally do on TikTok, I get started by talking about the post that I put out on TikTok, so that get the ball rolling until hopefully someone asks me something. Until, Caroline, I've got someone. Hi, Didi. Is this your first YouTube live? Yes, it is my very, very first one. I'm glad that someone is here. Thank you, Caroline, for joining. Is there anything you'd like to talk about today? Let me get started. And so the first post that I put out today goes like this. Some people get joy upsetting others. Let me put the volume up. I forgot. Can everyone hear me well? Okay, let's continue. Some people get upsetting others because they live in a constant state of hurt and they have not been taught how to deal with the hurt. And at a subconscious level, seeing others hurting gives them a sense of justice, as they are no longer the only ones hurting anymore. So this explains why some people hurt others. Very often people ask me, why are people mean? Why are some people nasty to other people? That's because they project their own suffering, their own frustration, their own hurt. They have a lot of it and they don't know how to deal with that feeling. And so they're going to need to somehow find a way to let go of that toxic energy that is hurting them. And this is how people hurt others. It's very, very simple. We project all the things about ourselves that we don't like on others. And so we're going to recognize those things because we feel bad. This is how we're going to somehow connect and interact with people, with the world, with society. That's it. Next post. The more you recognize and accept your own limitations, the easier it will be for you to recognize and forgive other people's limitations. And so it's very, very similar in the sense that we, again, project what we don't like about ourselves. And so if we've been told that we're not enough, we needed to reach a certain standard, we need to behave in a certain way, we need to do certain things in order to be loved by our parents when we're a child, then we're going to be very, very harsh on ourselves. And as we're harsh on ourselves, it's also going to be how we interact with others, how we see others. In other words, the way we speak to others is the way we speak to ourselves. The way we judge others is the way we judge ourselves. Or even more simple than that, people who judge others judge themselves. And that's why they need to judge others. It's easier to judge the things that they dislike on others rather than realizing that those things exist inside of them. And the way they speak to themselves is because of the way their parents, their caregivers, their teachers, the environment spoke to them when they were younger. And so, yeah. Again, we don't realize that we are the continuation of whatever happened to us, but also we function the way we have been brought up. The habits that we have, habits of thought and habits of emotions, are, for the vast majority of us, a continuation of what we have observed from our caregivers, until we start to work on ourselves and we start to reflect on some aspect of us. There's a comment from Caroline. How do I protect myself from people who can be nasty? The best way to protect yourself against people who are nasty to you is to create a space between you and them. You want to first recognize them, and you want to stop allowing them in your life. The reason why we suffer from people who are mean is not because they are mean. It's because we are allowing them to be mean to us. And so it's very important to realize that whoever that we attract and we allow in our lives, it's our choice. We have a narrative about ourselves based on how we see ourselves, based on what happened to us in childhood. And so basically, whatever happened to us in childhood, whatever we have learned from our environment, whatever we have observed as we grew up, has created a sense of self, a sense of identity. And that sense of identity has a narrative. This is who I am, and because of the fact that this is who I am, this is the world that I live in. And in the story of myself, I need certain people to complete that narrative. So if I see myself like a victim, for instance, I need some people to hurt me. I need some people to take advantage of me. I need some people to gaslight me, to disrespect me, because this is how I see myself. And so in the end, we will allow people who are mean to take advantage of us. Now, it's a big world, a lot of things happen, and we will all meet all sorts of different people in our lives. However, I'm talking here about those who have a pattern, who always attracts people who are always hurting them. And so we need to address this, we need to realize that it's not that I'm not lucky, it's not that the world is full of bad people only. It is that I only notice, I only invite, I only attract, I only allow people who are nasty to me. And so this is the first thing we want to address. And then for everyone else, once you have recognized this, we want to set boundaries. Boundaries are how we're going to teach people how to respect us and to see us and to recognize our feelings and our value as a human being. That's it. Does it work? Does it help, Caroline? Parody, hello Didi. Hi, Parody. Thank you for being here as well. And so I just started that like 10 minutes ago or less. For those who are in America or anywhere else, let me some comments, please, and let me know when you would like me to do those lives on YouTube. Today I decided to do 3 o'clock afternoon GMT, but I could start a bit later. I know that in, what is it called? Eastern time zone, it's 10 o'clock. But then I realized that for people who are on the West Coast, it's much earlier. So I don't know. Do you want me to start at 3, 4, 5, 6 p.m. UK time? Whatever is best for you. Because I was thinking if I do 6 p.m., it means that it will be 1 p.m. for people who live in Eastern time zone, and it will be 10 a.m. for those who live in Pacific time zone. So I don't know. Let me know, please. I'm still experimenting. This is my very first YouTube live. Probably it's 10 a.m. in New Jersey. Yes, that's what I thought. But I mean, if anyone is around, I will go with the majority. If not, I stick to that because why not? Probably maybe then you'd get more people. Yes, okay. So you are confirming that maybe I should go at 6 p.m. so I can have a little bit of East Coast and West Coast people and everything in between. Okay. Okay, I'll do this. I think next week probably I will start at 6 p.m. So that's it. Caroline, what do you think about what I just said? Does that make sense? When we have nasty people in our lives, it's because we have programmed our mind to only notice them. The world is full of people. Why do we only notice? Why do we only allow ourselves to be in an environment that is full of bad people? Because this is how we see ourselves. This is what we believe we deserve. Squid Game. Hello, Squid Game. Hi, it's 3.09. Yes, I know. I mean, I know. I didn't know where you are, but this is my time zone as well. In the UK, I don't know how to do the other time. Anyway, thank you for your input. Yes, I'm in the UK as well. I do that broadcast from London. But thank you for the comment. Caroline, but do they attract to me because of my energy? I'm working on self-care, but I come from an upbringing that you described. But I distanced myself now if I meet someone nasty. So if you distance yourself, it's a good thing, right? But the most important thing is that not only you do that, but also the people that you do allow in your life, you set boundaries with them. You tell them, this is me, this is how I feel, this is what I expect from you, and this is what I can give you. And if it doesn't work, then it's not going to work. And for those who don't know, it's very important to remember that setting boundaries doesn't mean I don't like this. Setting boundaries means if you do this, I'm going to do that. And then, if you do this, we need to apply the boundaries. If you just talk about it, if you just express it, but we are not applying it, it doesn't mean anything at all. And people will actually start to take advantage, pull the rug over them. I don't know what visual I can create, but I think you get an idea, right? So yes. But already having awareness that you want to create a space around you because maybe you are more sensitive than other people is a good self-awareness. It's a good start. Parody Caroline, I do the same. Yeah. Especially for those who are neurodivergent. So again, not everyone is, but many people tend to have an awareness of them being on the spectrum of some conditions. Like I, for instance, I've got a few of them. I was diagnosed with bipolar in my 20s, but I also found out through the pandemic that I have ADHD, borderline personality disorder, and CPTSD. Now, I'm quite zen. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've been through many transformations myself on the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. And so I have changed a lot, and I'm now a therapist helping others through my experience. And again, because I've got ADHD, I just lost the plot of what I was saying. It's going to come back if it was important. So anyway, I hope that something that I said was useful to some of you. Let me see. Parody. Ah, no, I've got someone else. Asma's. Hello, Asma. Hi from KSA. I don't know where it's KSA, but I'll check it out later. You know what? Let me check it out now. KSA. It's Saudi Arabia. All right. Oh wow. Thank you for your post here on YouTube. Helped me with my anxiety. May God bless you always. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. I appreciate this hugely. I love the fact that I can reach some people that I have never met or never spoken to. And so, yes, fantastic. Thank you. Parody. So my best friend in bracket of 8 years treated me disrespectfully last month. You were alive and helped me through it. I gave him a second chance this morning. He called me. We were chatting. I brought up some to be continued. ... In the meantime, Caroline, when I meet people in school and trips, where can I not distance myself? How do I protect myself then when I want to distance myself? So it's very, don't talk to them, ignore them. Don't engage with them. Don't give them a chance to come and speak to you. Create space around you by through your body language and through what you tell them. You know, it's very simple. But the best thing to do really is not to be on your own and keep yourself away from people, because that behavior could attract some bad people. And so the best thing to do is to actually find some people with whom you can connect with and create your little tribe, so that you can look out after each other. Is there anyone that you get along with at all? Saudi Arabia. Yes, I found out. Thank you. Fantastic. I didn't realize that I could reach people from that far away. That's amazing. Parody. Things that I'm upset about, DEI being taken away. And he responded, good, I want my daughter hired for her ability, not her gender. All right. Don't talk with those people. Don't engage with them. When I say them, it doesn't mean necessarily that I'm creating some limits. What I'm trying to say is that we all have a different paradigm. We all have a different bubble. We all have a different understanding of life, reality, and everything that we observe in life. And so here what is happening is that you are trying to talk to someone who doesn't share the same reality as you. That person doesn't speak the same language. That person doesn't experience the same things as you do. That person doesn't see, doesn't get what you get. But it goes the other way around. You don't get, you don't see, you don't experience, you don't understand what they are going through as well. And so we all have preference. And I'm on your side. I understand that empathy and compassion and togetherness is what will fix this world. But this is what we know. And for a lot of people, if you've been brought up in separation, hatred, scapegoatism, then your perspective will be different. And so don't talk to them. I stopped engaging with people who I realized were too far away from my paradigm a long time ago. This is what I would recommend to everyone. If you realize that someone is too far away, and we have realized this since 2016, some people that we know shown that they are so different than what we thought we were. Just 1 second, please. Okay, sorry about that. Someone is knocking on the door. I've got to take this. Just bear with me, please. Hello. Now's not the time.
Yes, it's about cabling. It's about cabling.
I don't have time.
I know it's
live podcast.
okay.
So yes,
It's
go ahead.
about cabling.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I had someone trying to, I don't know, promote something. I had to be rude to them. I just closed the door on them. But, you know, this is how I found a way, my way to set my boundaries. So let's go back to parody. So we're all different. We all have a different paradigm. We all have a different understanding of life. We all have a different set of belief. And so we want to realize that we cannot communicate with someone who doesn't speak the same language, who doesn't experience the same reality as us. And we tend to waste a lot of energy and time and happiness trying to do that. And that's why everyone are fighting against each other. Because they're trying to convince people of something, even though they're not speaking the same language. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. Maybe in the future, some people may have some awakening, some level of awareness, and change their mind. We can learn about what is happening on the other side of their mind and expand their perspective. But until that happens, and if that happens, it's not going to be possible, because the way they're going to come at you, they're not coming, and it's the same with you. It goes both ways, right? It's not like, I mean, I'm not sure 100% about you. I'm just trying to show both sides to show some sort of fairness. But essentially, there are two attitudes that we can have when we are going into a conversation. We can either own a scout mindset or a warrior mindset. And so the scout mindset is, I'm going to go into that conversation to talk about something that I don't know of, and we're going to share information. I am going to be open-minded, and I'm going to suggest things, but I'm also going to take on board things and see if together we can learn something from one another. That is the scout mindset. We bring back some information and want to grow from that discussion. On the other side, we can be having a warrior mindset. The warrior mindset is, I want to win. That's it. I want to win. I want to prove them wrong. I want to have the last word. And so from the beginning, the reason why they want to speak to you is very different than your own intention. And so if you can recognize that someone is coming to you with a warrior mindset, that protect, defend, justify, expand their thing, they don't care about what you feel and what you think about. So just disengage. That's my advice to you, Parody. So let me go back to where I was. Yeah, distance yourself. If you have someone like that, also I would say, if those values that we talk about in that conversation with that friend of yours are important to you, then maybe it's time for you to reassess if they are your friend or not. I personally would find it very difficult to have friends who disagree with me about those sort of topics. Right? It's like if someone was showing any type of discriminative behavior, if they're racist, if they're homophobic, transphobic, if they're ableist, anything like that, I don't have time for. It's a big world out there. We don't need to allow ourselves to be with people with whom we disagree with such fundamental issues. It's a big world. Just hang out with those who are like you. There are plenty of them. But very often, if you have been friends with someone for a long time, we're going to give them more chances. And we don't have to do this. Because we've been a friend with someone for a long time, doesn't mean that we are good friends. It just means that we have the habit of being with them. And maybe they've been horrible to us all this time and we never realized it because we took it for granted as something that is normal and habitual. So yeah, I would reassess friendship if I was you, probably. Especially in our days and age. You don't have to accept those things. Now, when it comes to, it depends. At a professional level, for instance, I look after people from all board because I believe that everyone needs help and also understand where everyone comes from. Understand that even the people that you dislike, the people that I dislike, the people that we dislike, whatever that they're doing that we dislike, they never chose either. We are all the result, the product, the continuation of whatever happened to us in childhood and our environment. And so no one really chooses what they think and what they believe. As we have more self-awareness, we can get to a point where we can start to learn and indeed choose. But for many of us, that choice is not there just yet. They have no awareness of it yet. And I'm talking about critical thinking here, amongst other things. And so yes, what do you say, Proudy? He started debating me, his voice got louder and he became confrontational. He started telling me he doesn't believe in it. I told him he's closed-minded, he hung up on me. Okay, good. What I would have done is to hang up on him first. Just tell them, you know what, it's not happening. I don't think that we can function together as friends because of this precisely. And also the fact that that person got angry and hung up on you showed that they reached the end of their capacity at reasoning. When we get angry, it means that we no longer have access to our rational mind. We're reacting emotionally. We are caught into the corner. There's nothing else that we can do but being aggressive. Sorry. Like it's an animalistic basal instinct that we have. Anger protects us from things that we don't know, that we don't understand. And so when they're angry at you, it means that they absolutely have disconnected from here. They're just reacting from there. Protection. And it's impossible to dialogue with people who are in this sort of state. And if people have been very angry and distressed and frustrated and angry for a long time, which I would understand because in America, life is difficult. In the Western world, the way society is created is very harsh on many people. And so that creates that. But yeah, let's see. I think there are more comments. Maybe there's going to be some more angle to discuss this from. Caroline, I was on after work for women who want to meet new people and make new friends. I met a girl who wanted to take walks and be friends, but I have my sister, niece, and mum. Okay. So a little tribe, maybe. Okay, there you go. Fantastic. So this is what I meant. You don't need to be popular. You don't need to be friends with everyone. You just need to have a handful of people with whom you feel that you can be yourself without feeling bad about yourself. There you go. Focus on your tribe and see every now and then if you can incorporate some new members in it. But you don't need a lot of people. You just need some people. For many of us who are neurodivergent, so I can't remember. I think that you are. Correct me if I'm wrong. But for many of us who are neurodivergent, it's easier to be with people who are like us because we don't need to explain, to justify. We can just be ourselves. We don't need to mask. And it makes such a huge difference. Parody. He asked me if, as a Jewish person, am I passionate about Israel? I thought that was low. I told him he was white privilege. He said, "What? I'm white but Jewish." Okay. Let's see where this takes us. But generally speaking, as I said, if someone has got a warrior mindset, they will attack your character. Instead of talking about the subject, they will attack you as a person. This is, I think it's called ad hominem attack, and it absolutely depicts the fact that they're coming just to win. They don't care about the argument, the discussion. They don't want to grow. They don't want to have an exchange of information. They just want to have the last word. And so when you realize this, just get rid of them. You're just wasting your time and your happiness and your energy. Caroline, I like YouTube Live because you can write longer messages in the chat and explain more about your question. Fantastic. So now we have an incentive to come and see me on YouTube rather than TikTok. I will still go live on TikTok. As I said, I would twice a week. But I want to do at least one live on YouTube. So Saturday, maybe I'll try 6 p.m. GMT next week. Thank you, Caroline, for the feedback. That's good. Parody. He feels fearful for his children, yet can't understand that black people deal with this every day. He's disrespectful. I told him to stop healing. Okay, so here let's talk about this. Now I'm going to be the devil's advocate, and I want to see both parts to tell you about two different perspectives. Not because there's a right or a wrong, but just for you to understand what is happening from their side of their bubble, right? Of a mental, psychological bubble. And so that person is scared for their children. And you are telling them it's nothing to do compared to the brown and black kids who are going through so much more. And you're right, it's true that a lot of people don't realize that they are indeed privileged. However, from a human being standpoint, those people, they're scared for the kids. And that's all that matters to them. At this point in time, they're in a survival mode. I need to survive. I need to keep my children safe. And so nothing else matters. And so what happens is if you tell them, yes, but other people suffer more than you, all that they're going to get from this is she doesn't listen to me. She doesn't care about me, and I need to put my foot in so that she gets what I'm trying to say. That person is in distress. That person is unhappy and is trying to speak out its truth, and it feels that no one is listening to them. And on top of that, you say, I told him to stop yelling. And so this is normal. You want to protect yourself. And also, if you have been through a lot of abuse, it's absolutely understandable. You want to keep away from people who are aggressive and scary. However, again, switch side. From their perspective, they're thinking, I'm trying to express myself. I'm trying to tell them how I feel. And now I'm going to be told off and suppressed and shut down, just like I have been all my childhood, by my parents, by my teachers, by society. Stay calm. Control yourself. Those sort of things. And now that person is feeling even more angry. And this is precisely why Donald Trump won. Because on one, again, I am very, very progressive and I believe in empathy and compassion and togetherness. However, from a psychological perspective, I want to explain both sides of the equation. And what happens is that in America, you have the lefties and the right. So you've got the liberals or the Democrats and the Republicans. And within the Republicans, so those are the MAGA people. You have all those people from America who have never been looked after, who always been spoken down to, who has been mocked. by the liberals. You're stupid, you're redneck, you're illiterate, you play banjo by the river, the deliverance, ding, 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 that sort of things. And so basically, they never had any help from anyone. They've always been told that they were stupid, that were inferior, that were behind. And this is how they feel when people talk to them like that. And for once in their life, they have a candidate, Donald, that was himself. And no matter what he said, he seemed honest. He seemed himself. And they thought, okay, that person I can trust. That person is not trying to be a goody do-gooder and try to tell me what is right or wrong and mock me because I'm not educated. And that's why they voted for Trump. Because people are creatures of emotions and feelings and sensations before they are thinking creatures. And so we need to, we're always going to choose people that feel that they are on our side. We're going to always choose people that we feel we can trust. And if someone says stupid things all the time, like Trump does, we can trust that person because he has no filters. He's not trying to lie. He has no secret agenda. He's transparent. And this is why so many people like him. What you see is what you get, even if it's stupid and bad and hurtful things. But still, for them, it is still someone that reminds them of who they are, of the sort of people that we would like to be their leader, because that person is transparent. He says what he thinks. And so that's a lesson as to how we can deal with people in our lives. So politics is one thing, but at a general level, we want to realize that even the people that we don't like, they're still human beings with feelings, and they need to be heard. And if you want to give them a chance, if you want to connect with them, you want to see them as human beings. They may not have the same ideology, they may not have the same dialogue, but if you see them as the others from the get-go, from the beginning, you will have that energy that this is me and you are the others. I'm going to look down on you and speak over you, or something like that. And they will feel this and they will protect, defend, and retaliate. But if you see them like, that person is misguided, that person is lost and confused, that person suffers, I'm going to see that person through the eyes of empathy and compassion and try my best to find a way to connect with that person. Then there may be a chance, maybe, to connect emotionally and have a conversation. Not everyone. Some people are too far away from where we are. But there are some of them who are somewhere not too far away. We can reach them. And so I think this is something very important that we can all learn from. For me, it was obvious and understandable as to why Trump won, knowing all of this that I just said. I can imagine all those Americans, all those years, who never had anything from any government anyway. No one cared about them. When the Democrats were in power, they didn't make their lives better. They only focused on people who were like them, from their tribe. And so they felt like no one cared about them. And also, they felt that everyone were always laughing at them, mocking them, putting them down, not seeing them, not respecting them, and also lying to them. Again, with Trump, he may be mad, but at least he's got that energy that people believe that what you see is what you get. And so they don't believe that he's going to lie to them. Because if you are, let's say, crazy enough to say the things that he says, then it means that there are no filters. And this is what matters to them. I hope it makes sense. But again, parody, I am absolutely on your side. You know this, as far as political perspective are concerned. But I wanted to show a different psychological angle so that we can understand the people behind the behavior, behind the red hat, behind the subconscious bias that is going to get them to say that Elon's hand gesture from the 1940s in Germany was some sort of Roman salute. To them, it's really what they see. Because when we are in our bubble, our mind is going to create all sorts of things to make sure that we have a connection between here and there. So what it means is that from the head, we may think, this is not, I'm talking about Elon Musk, This is not a Roman salute. This is the hand gesture that people in Germany in the 1940s used to do. But in my heart, if I'm thinking, oh, those are my people, they're going to change things for me. For once in my life, finally, things are going to change. And so now we have the heart versus the head. And for us to function, our mind needs to create some systems so they are aligned. And this is what we call cognitive bias, cognitive distortion, cognitive dissonance. And so if you know the novel from George Orwell, 1984, there's a line that goes like this: 2 + 2 = 5. With enough mind flexibility, it's actually possible to make sense of this. And this is what cognitive biases are. Those people were thinking, but Elon is a good guy, Trump is a good guy. They don't mean that, because the heart wins over the head. Even though the head could understand logically that it's not like that. But they're not able to see that because the heart will create all of those interference to create a different reality for them to experience. And that explains why so many people, again, from the left are like, what a bunch of idiots. Why can't they see that? It's so obvious because of that. If we understood psychology, things would be much, much different. But because we are reacting like that, we're very human, it's normal. But because of that, now we are going to make the situation worse, because we're attacking them, we're mocking them, and now we're reinforcing that illusion of separation, division, us versus them. You're bad, I'm better. And we are exactly doing the same thing that they're doing to us unknowingly. I hope it makes sense. What do you say, Parody? Parody, he's toxic to me at this point. He said he believes there are two genders, and that upsets me to my core. I understand. I agree with you. This gender is a social construct. Parody, yes, you are so right. It's the idea of losing a long-term friend. It's okay, though. We've evolved into different people. Yes, so yes, we change. And the truth is that maybe that person was always like that, but it shows that the circumstances have revealed that aspect of him that was always there. Maybe that person always has those bias and those that level of bigotry towards trans people, for instance, because your son is trans, if I remember. And then maybe now they've come to a point where, because the government in place in America is on their side, they can express how they feel, how they have always felt inside of them. Right? They're allowed to be bigot. They're allowed to be racist. They're allowed to do some Roman salute, other sort of things. And so, yeah. But again, the world is full of people. There are zillions of us, and so it doesn't matter. Just let go and allow the people who are vibrating at the same frequency as you now. Parody, I think what hurts is feeling like I have none. You have none what? You have no friends. I'm sure that you can find some people. There are people everywhere, and it's about allowing the right people at the right time. And it will happen. It will happen. I'm sure that you told me that you are already connecting with some people in your community. And so they are your people, right? Parody, I am Jewish too. I care about all lives, though. Thank you. Not just Israeli children, all children. Yes, I'm with you. Thank you. Of course, everyone deserves to be happy, and we must do our best to fight for justice and equality. Caroline, I feel like I'm a bit on the introverted side and have childhood trauma, trying to make my nervous system better, so I feel better. I don't know if I'm neurodivergent, but I am on my journey with self-care, okay? So yeah, you don't have to be, I mean, what we call neurodivergent is anything that is not neurotypical. And so what is neurotypical? Neurotypical is an arbitrary standard that society has created. And what it means is that if you're neurotypical, it means that you can function in that society. It means that you can function in a neurotypical society. So it doesn't mean that there's no better, there's no worse. It's just that they have created a world where some people can do certain things, and if people can do that in that society, then they are normal. And so what it means is that if you had some childhood trauma, you would be neurodivergent. Because neurodivergent, it's not just ADHD or autism. Neurodivergent is anything that is not neurotypical. And if you have CPTSD and it's unheard, what it means is that your brain has developed in a different way than the neurotypical brains. If you have trauma, your brain as a child needs to come up with systems to protect you from whatever is happening to you. And so as a result of this, the way you're going to function, the way you're going to process thoughts and feelings and emotions, the way you're going to read the world, read the environment, read the people, the way you're going to interpret any situations at all, the way you're going to deal with stress and adversity is going to be different than those who are neurotypicals. Because you are hypersensitive, because your brain is constantly looking out for the bad things to happen and try to protect you from those things. That's what trauma is. It's reminding you that you've been hurt, you've been overwhelmed, and it's doing its best to keep you safe and alert in this world. So yes, yeah. So you may well be neurodivergent just based on what you said. Caroline. Shh. 11, philosopher. You're calling me philosopher, right? Thank you. I'm a therapist, so I enjoy philosophy. I enjoy any discussions to do with how we can enhance and elevate any aspect of our life from the mind. Parody, yeah, how my Jewish mum can excuse that is beyond me. It's sad. What you're talking about, your mum can excuse that. Are you meaning to say that your mum only stand for one side of the conflict and believes that, let's say, people from Gaza are bad people and they don't deserve to live? Is that what you mean? I understand. I see a lot of this happening. A lot of my friends on Facebook are Jewish, and some of them I didn't realize were super Zionist because of the program. Right? But some of them are not. And I find this very, very amazing. I understand that it's not easy. It must be very, very difficult. It takes a lot of courage for a Jewish person to stand for the underdogs because the system is trying to make us believe that those underdogs are the bad guys. And so, yes, again, when it comes to conditioning and belief, we all have a bubble based on our upbringing and our environment. And so I also understand why so many people are Zionist. You know, it is indoctrination. It's like with the church in America. A lot of Americans who are Christians have a different version of Christianity that's got nothing to do with what Jesus said. It's all about hatred and division, and it's precisely the opposite of what religion should be about. Religion should be about teaching love and forgiveness, compassion, empathy, all of those things. Not division, not we are better than you and everyone else, they are bad. And we must control everyone with some made up, man-made dogmas. Parody, I was talking about Elon's gesture, but also yes, Zionist. Okay, all right. Okay, so your mom believes that Elon was doing a Roman salute. This is it. The mind can be so distorted, and if we can see it, if we are woke, as in we have awoken, so we can see out of the matrix, through the matrix, we can understand what is happening, then it can be very, very frustrating, because for other people, they don't see that, they're nowhere near that, they can't yet. And it is our expectations of them being able to see that is hurtful. So let go. If they are like that, let them be, and just do your best to focus yourself on people who are on the same wavelength as you. And at some point, they may change. They may come back to you and say, I was wrong, you were right. Can you forgive me? But if it doesn't happen, it's also okay. It doesn't matter. We all live a different experience. We all have different interpretation of reality. We're all coming to this life to go through our own journey. And so maybe it is their journey. It is their journey to go through all of those kind of thoughts and perspective. And it's got nothing to do with you. You don't need to waste your time and your energy fighting with them. Just create a space between you and them, I believe, is the best thing to do. Caroline, I understand. So good explained. All right, thank you. I am more that I look for potential danger in my surroundings that comes from childhood. Easily get migraines from stress and it makes it difficult to work. Let me try again. I understand, so good explained. Thank you. I am more that I look for potential danger in my surroundings that comes from my childhood. Okay, so it's a bit fragmented, but I think I understand. Basically, you are explaining how you believe that indeed, because of your trauma, you are constantly in a state of heightened alertness, hypervigilance. You're always looking out for the danger, right? Easily get migraines from stress and it makes it difficult to work. So migraine is one of the things amongst many that the body does to protect us. We don't realize that a lot of our physical issues are actually born from our emotional state. So if I'm a child, for instance, and something happened to me in childhood, let me give you an example. Some people have chronic migraines whenever they're stressed out, and they don't know where it comes from. And again, I'm a hypnotherapist. I am an RTT therapist. So I hypnotize people. We go back into the memories of the past and we find out why this happened. And for many people who have migraines or fatigue, some chronic conditions like fibromyalgia, anything to do like that, or even it could be tinnitus, it can be anything. For many, we have found out that in their childhood, it was the system that they have created to protect themselves or to find solace and relief from whatever they were going through. And so I'm going to give you an example. Let's say someone has a very unhappy childhood. Mom and dad are always arguing and fighting. And suddenly that person has an accident, has pain, or has a migraine or something like that. And suddenly the parents stop fighting because they want to look after the child. So they're going to give a lot of attention, a lot of care and love. They can take that child to the doctor, to the hospital. And so what that child is going to create in that moment is an association. When there is stress, when there is overwhelm, when there is distress and pain, if I have headache or if I have pain of any sort, now suddenly no more pain. It's resolved. The parents are looking after me. And so later on in their life, they forget about this. And every time they're going to be facing stress, the subconscious mind is going to remember what makes you feel better when you're under stress. I know, migraine or pain or fatigue or brain fog or anything that we're suffering from. And so those are all subconscious mechanisms. But if you can understand that even the way our body responds to things is highly connected to anything emotional, any experiences that are emotional in childhood, then it's easier to address those symptoms as well. Does it make sense, Caroline? Parody, your opinion about the sermon that upset Donald. I believe Mary Bird was genuine. Yes, no, I'm with you. So we can talk about this again. It's in the same direction as what I was saying about people's bubble and how we perceive the world. So yes, Mary Bird, we love her. She's a real Christian. She's preaching compassion and empathy. And Donald would never accept that because it's against everything that he's doing now. And so he has to say, she's a nasty woman, this was not such a good ceremony. And yes, he has to say that. He cannot possibly go along with something that is criticizing his precise actions. Yeah. It is the state of the world now. You have so much distortion about how we can interpret reality that even the most basic stuff are not working anymore. When someone is showing some clear signs of extremism, people are saying something else. When someone is trying to preach kindness, people are getting angry. And it's upside down reality, but it is what is happening. This is precisely what the people at the top have created. They have created so much frustration and anger and dissatisfaction with a lot of people in America, not just America, but in that example, it is in America, that that those people are willing to accept and believe anything as long as they have someone that can help them. They see Donald Trump as their savior. And so this is essentially precisely what religion does. It conditions people to believe that they're not enough and they need a savior. Jesus is the savior. And so now, because they've been conditioned to believe that all of their life, bang, it makes sense. There's someone finally, Donald, who is like them, who says stupid things, who they can trust, who they feel is on their side. And so, yeah, it's all very much connected to, again, our belief system, our upbringing, our environment. Caroline, yes, it makes sense. Fantastic, thank you. Parody, the fact that she has threats against her, yes, yeah. Anyone who expresses themselves, even on TikTok, if you are too big and you say something that goes against some people's belief system, you will get a lot of threats, like life-threatening threats. And so, yes, it's very, very sad, but it's the set of things. It's internet, but also it's the division that has been the achievement of the establishment. She discussed mercy. People are trying to say she harassed him. Lol, I have to laugh. Oh yes. Don't try to write things. Do your best to express yourself so that you can let go of that energy inside of you. You need to speak out your truth. But don't try to convince the world. Don't try to change the world, because it's not for you to do, and you cannot do this at this point in time. Some of us have different power, and we can all influence the direction of how this world is going. But I would suggest you to focus on your immediate priorities. As we said the other day, focus on connecting with your community so that you can look out for each other in those difficult times. But forget about everything else. Don't try to do your best not to waste so much energy in mentally trying to correct those wrongs that you witness. Those are happenings, they happen, and you must accept that it has happened. You must accept that there's nothing much that you can do at this point in time, and you must accept that you have other priorities to use your energy for. It's like the natural disasters. If you look at the disaster in LA or anything like that, it happens. It's very sad. Feel the sadness, let go of the sadness, do something if you can and if you want to do something about it, and then move on. But if you keep thinking about it, the fire is going to be inside of you, and you will suffer from it unnecessarily. And the same thing with anything else that gets you to get angry or frustrated. Anything that you think is unfair. Appreciate that it sucks, but this is life, it's happening, and right around now, can I do something about it? No. In that case, move on. If you can do something about it and you want to do something about it, do it, and then move on. And come back to it the next day and start again. Can I do something about it? Is it important to me? But if you think about those things all the time, it's going to eat you, it's going to corrode you, it's going to affect you when there's no need for that. You need your time, your energy, and your focus to reinforce your community, to create something that will keep you and your son safe. Does it make sense? SASB, hey Didi, hello. John Collins, are you a Buddhist? Didi just wondered. No, I'm not a Buddhist. I enjoy Buddhism, I enjoy Taoism, I enjoy a lot of Eastern philosophies, but I am not anything. I enjoy some aspect of religion, some aspect of spirituality, some aspect of all sorts, but I'm not anything at all. Right? I pick and mix all sorts of different beliefs that work for me. I create my own recipe, my own formula, and I believe that this is how we should all do. I don't like to limit myself to a system, to a label, and so yeah, I believe in everything, and I have my own belief system that is borrowed from all sorts of different places, and it works very well for me. And again, this is what I always say when it comes to belief. Belief are just belief, but not fact. Belief are essentially us interpreting something that we have no fact about. And so it doesn't matter what they are. We might as well choose belief that make us feel better, that serve us, that help us feeling empowered as opposed to feeling disempowered. Right? And so this is how I have upgraded all of my belief, realizing just that. But I do enjoy Buddhism, and I do share a lot of Buddhist principles on my content. I believe that they are very wise, and a lot of things that they say really resonate with me. But as with all systems, not everything works for me. And also, I like the freedom. I like my autonomy. Again, ADHD and this and that. I believe that there's a part of me that believes that if I follow something, I'm going to be trapped. I'm going to lose my autonomy. I have to follow the rules. Whereas if I come from the outside and I just pick and mix, now I'm free to do as I may, and it feels so much better for me. Are you a Buddhist yourself, John Collins? Parody. Why do I get so angry at injustice? This has been my whole life. This could be because of your neurodivergence. It's a thing that is to do with that. Many of us who are neurodivergent, we can't stand injustice. We're able to see things, we're able to feel things, we're able to empathize and to connect with people who suffer. But also, it's not just that, we have suffered ourselves. We have been discriminated our whole lives. Our whole lives, people didn't know that we had a condition, and so we've been called stupid, lazy, selfish, greedy, nasty, and all of those things. We've been judged, not realizing that this is who we are because of our brain being different. It's not our fault, we don't choose this. And so when we feel injustice from the receiving side of it, then we remember how it feels, and when we see this happening again in our lives, we can remember there's a part of us that still remembers how it felt for us, so we can feel it as well as we're witnessing it. We can't let this happen. Now we can do something. Maybe when we were a child, we couldn't do anything about injustice that were happening to us, but now as an adult, we can do something about it. And so it's a way to also kind of make up for the past. And so yes, I get it. I'm too. I get extremely angry and infuriated when I see injustice. But as everyone who understands this, eventually I do my best to accept it and let go and realize that this is all that I can do at this point in time. Hopefully the next day I will be able to do a bit more, but if not, I'm not going to waste any more of my energy, of my health, of my happiness in something that I have no power over. Parody, yes, I feel too much and I don't like it. So there's a lot of ways to regulate it. I believe that you have a lot of things to address first. You have a lot of stress and anxiety and overwhelm that you really, really need to address. And those are the reasons why you feel everything, because you feel that you're in danger. So you're in a super heightened state of alertness, and that gets you to be in that state. People who are very, very empath, they are such because it's a survival system. In childhood, if they've been suffering from abuse, if they couldn't trust their caregivers, if they didn't get the love and the attention that they needed, then they had to develop some extra sense to capture what is happening around them. If they had some abusers in their life, in their household, they had to have a system to see them coming before they get hurt. And this is how we are hypersensitive and we are extra empathetic, because it's a system that is subconscious, that is there, that is always scanning our environment and always reading people's body language, always trying to feel the energy so that we have a step ahead if they're going to hurt us, like those people in the past. John Collins, no one likes injustice, it's how you react to it. Yes, so again, when we react to it is because we come from a place of protection. People who react to injustice, they are people who have been traumatized and have unhealed emotional wounds. And so we don't want to tell people, oh, you are too sensitive, you are weak, don't react, you choose it. We don't choose it. For many of us, if we've been through a lot, it was never a choice. And so it's very important to remind ourselves of this so that we can connect with people instead of judging them and making them feel worse. Parody, I need to practice that, just letting go, moving on. Yes, absolutely. Letting go is one of the hardest things to do, because when we let go, we also let go of control. In reality, there's no such thing as control. We're letting go of the illusion of control. But really, one of the reasons why we suffer is because we resist the world around us, because we need to control everything, because we've been hurt. So we want to protect ourselves. But if you can learn how to let go, drop the guard, drop the shield, drop the suit of armor, and think, you know what? I'm going to surrender. I'm going to focus on my things, but I don't need to control those things anymore, because I never had control anyway. Then now you're going to allow for yourself to focus on the good things, and you're going to also allow for the universe to do its job and to support you. We suffer from our own resistance to our flow, if it makes sense. I can expand, but you have to ask me the right questions. John Collins, the angry is unnecessary, doesn't change anything. Yes, it's true. But for many of us, when we're angry, that's because that's all that we know. So again, for those who don't know me, one of the conditions that I have is borderline personality disorder. And because of that, and ADHD. And because of that, I was always angry. I had mega rage for everything and anything. I hated everything. I hated myself. I hated people. I hated the world. I hated life. I hated God. I hated everything. And I was angry at everything because I didn't have any other system to protect myself with. Anger is a visceral survival system that we have to protect us from what we don't understand, from what is hurting us. And so people who are angry, they're not weak, they're not inferior, they are hurt. And they're trying their best to make it in this world. So we want to understand that, we want to protect ourselves from the anger, of course. But we can also understand, instead of judging, their behavior. John Collins, me too, thanks. Thank you, John. John Collins, thanks for the reply. Of course, ask me anything. Golly, Molly, how did you get so wise? Thank you very much. It's just something that, this is the things that I like. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about those things. I am wise only in those things. There are a lot of other fields of conversation where I have no wisdom at all. And so this is what I'm trying to say. I'm good at that because I spent my life thinking about it. I used to be suffering from a lot of things for 30 ages of my life. So I have a great deal of experience firsthand as far as addiction, depression, anxiety, rage is concerned. But I came out of it. And ever since I've been obsessed, I have ADHD, and so my brain is very good at hyper-focusing on the things that I love. And so I've been obsessed with anything to do with the mind all my life, but especially in the last 7 years plus, ever since I've become a therapist. And so I'm reading a lot, I'm expanding my mind a lot, I do a lot of meditation, and I really try to understand as many things because I love this, right? And because of that, this is it. That comes out, me. But if you ask me something about football, I won't be able to say anything about it. If you ask me something, there's a lot of things that I don't know anything about. And this is typical with ADHD. I have some things that I'm very good at, and pretty much everything else I'm rubbish at. I can't cook to save my life. I don't know. I can't. There's a lot of things that I'm terrible at, but it doesn't matter because those things are not so important to me. In comparison to understanding the mechanics of the mind and why people behave the way they do, and how we can help everyone to change the way we function mentally and emotionally so that we can create a better world for us, hopefully at some point in the near future. But thank you for the compliment. It's very kind of you. Golly Mori. Do ask me anything you'd like to know about, I don't know, relationships, about overthinking, about, I don't know, imposter syndrome, procrastination, grief, anything at all. Parody, yes to all of that. Thank you, Parody. Parody, yes, you are correct. Fantastic. Thank you. Sa SB. Didi, how do we move on from a past heartbreak? It's been almost a year since it happened, and it's still something I think about every day. And even this morning when I woke up, I couldn't stop replaying the event that led to it on my part. I'm truly tired and want to be able to not think about it anymore. I can't even start dating again because I feel closed off. only dated 2.5 months before I self-sabotaged. Okay. You are dealing with your own guilt. The reason you are feeling bad about this is because it's not because you're no longer that person. It's because you believe that you have self-sabotaged it. So basically, you want to address something about you. You want to find out why you did that. Why did you prevent that relationship that was perfect to flourish? So there are many different ways to look at it, but just if we look at it from the perspective of guilt, what I would say is that you must accept that whatever happens, happens because that's all that you can do in that moment. When we are not satisfied with something and we can't get it out of our head, it's because we are trying to come to terms with it. We believe that I should have done something else. I could have done something better. And the truth of the matter is that you can't. It's not possible. Whatever that you have done to self-sabotage that relationship is the only thing that you could have done then. We like to believe that to any situation there are two choices, the right choice and the wrong choice. And we also believe that we always take the wrong choice. And that's not true. Neither are true. First, there's not just two choices, there are myriads of different choices at any given time, and each moment the choice is repeated again and again. So we never know what's going to happen. And number two, we don't take the wrong choice. We take the only choice that we could take at any given time. We are limited by our emotional mind, by our subconscious belief. And so whatever that you do, even your choice of thought, is determined by how you feel about yourself. And so whatever that you've done or whatever that you have not done is the only thing that could have happened. So what you want to do is to practice self-compassion, self-forgiveness, and tell yourself, this happened, I didn't know any better, and so I reacted the only way I could have. Even if your head understood something, your heart took over, and your heart always wins. And whatever that you feel about anything is due to your past. There's nothing you can do about it, right? It has happened. And so accept that that's all that I could have done, and I can't go back in time, I can't change the past, I can't create a better past for me. And so I'm going to accept that back then, this is what I did. But now that I know that, if it happens again, I've learned something new, and I'm going to make sure that if the same situation happens again, I will not allow this to happen again. And this way you will create a conclusion, a term to that episode of your past. And now your mind is ready to move on. It doesn't need to think about it anymore. I hope it makes sense. Until we give a conclusion to an episode from the past, our mind is going to stay, is going to hold on it because it doesn't, it believes that until you come to terms with that situation, you're not safe, it's going to happen again, and you're going to suffer again from your own actions. So yeah, I hope it makes sense. Does it help or not? I can talk about that from many different angles. I just thought that the guilt one would be the most appropriate for you at this point in time. Does it help at all? And the next thing that I would say to you, very importantly, is to get rid of anything that is going to remind you of that person. If you have any videos, any pictures, put them aside. You don't need to get rid of them, but you can hide them away from you for now. If you have any letters, anything, if you have any clothes, any items that belong to them but is still in your flat, get rid of this or hide it. Because as long as you have some element that reminds you of that person, your subconscious mind will be reminded of everything that goes with the memory of that person. Does it help at all? SASB. John Collins. Heartbreak is governed by the desire to have that person back. Eliminate desire. Buddhism works for me personally. Okay, so that works for you. It's great. Yeah, I can see that happening. We're all different, though. When it comes to heartbreak, also what I would like to say is that heartbreaks they're not bad things. They are part of a human adventure. And so we must actually learn to understand why we are having a heartbreak and why we're not able to move away from that. And then eventually when we do, it all makes sense and we can move on. And it was never a problem, right? So one of the ways to do this would be for some people to learn to practice Buddhism, indeed. But Buddhism is not necessarily available to everyone. It's quite a deep a very different system from the Western way of thinking. But yes, I love Buddhism. John Collins, this is a wise man. Are you talking about me at the third person? I think you're right. This is a wise man indeed. The wise man, thanks you a lot. That's very kind of you, thank you. As I'm going to say sa SB. SB. Thank you, you're right. It's guilt and shame that's holding me back. Okay, so yes, that's shame. I forgot to talk about it. So guilt is about feeling bad because of the things that you have done or not done. Shame is feeling bad because of who you are. So there's a different level of gravity here. Guilt is something that we can change easily. Shame is embedded into your personality and your sense of self. So you want to realize that shame is an illusion, and there's nothing about your shame that is true. You can change it. It's just the belief that there's something inferior about yourself inherently, and this is just not true, because we can change any habits or thoughts or emotions or actions that is creating shame in us, so that we no longer need to feel shameful about ourselves. I hope it makes sense. So I was saying, yes, Sa SB. Thank you, you're right, it's guilt and shame that's holding me back. I started getting paranoid and hypervigilant and catastrophizing everything and making problems out of nothing. And looking back, I can't believe how things derailed and fell apart when they were so good when we started. I've been in therapy since and really focusing on healing the wounds that caused me to behave in the ways I did back then. So yes, so I was going to suggest this as well, therapy. I believe that the reason why you are also like that is because indeed you have some unhealed emotional wounds from the past. And that is why it's harder for you to move on than people who didn't have those psychological wounds. If you've been let down and hurt by your caregivers when you were young, then that incident with that person is going to remind you of what happened in the past. And that's why it's so important to your mind to give it a conclusion. There's a part of your mind that believes that if I can fix that, then I'm able to fix my past, and it means that I can fix everything in my life. Sa SB. It was also the words he uses at the end. No feelings, but didn't align with my experience. He downplayed and denied the connection, but my therapist helped me to see that he was acting out of his own traumas and wounds too, so mutual triggering. Yes, so this is very good. Yes, indeed, absolutely. So well done for having someone looking after you and being able to get to that level of awareness. When we suffer, it's very hard for us not to experience things from any perspective than ours. I am in danger. The world is bad. Everything and everyone is against me. Just 1 second, please. There's a siren going on, and my ADHD is going mad. That's why I have an earplug. For those who don't, we didn't realize. So, so the great thing, when we are suffering from unhealed trauma, we are always on the lookout for danger. So we're on a survival mode. So what it means is that we are living from a paradigm of I'm the center of the world and I need to protect myself from the whole world. But if you're able to actually experience things from other people's perspective, especially from those who hurt you, now you are making a lot of progress. And this is essentially how we heal. We heal by learning how to see the perspective of others. We realize that the way I have experienced that thing was only my interpretation. There are a lot of different perspectives from even that very event, and from any event at all. And so healing, self-growth, self-development is all about the journey of expanding our awareness by understanding how to see things from a different perspective. If we can realize that anything is just how we interpret it, then we can change the interpretation, and subsequently we can change our whole world and reality. So if you're able to realize that that person who hurt you also did that not because of you, not because you deserved it, not because there's anything wrong about you, but because they have their own baggage to deal with, then it's easier for you not to feel threatened or in danger as much from that person, because that person didn't want to hurt you. That person just wanted to deal with their own wounds. So it's not personal, right? People are just doing what they can to go through their own lives based on whatever happened to them. So yes, great level of self-awareness. Well done. Asma, your post, it takes it as an answer from him. No, I take it as an answer from him. I don't understand, Asma. What do you mean? I didn't say anything else. Let me try again. Asma, your post, I take it as an answer from him. Do you want to expand on this, please, so that I can understand what you mean? Sa SB, I love those Central London sounds. Yes, they're lovely, but sometimes if I'm trying to do a live, it can be quite disturbing. In TikTok, I do them in the evening often, and at night you have the tuk-tuk with the music, you know, the people who are trying to con the tourist, a drunk tourist, on the tuk-tuk, and it can be quite for me. Sven, hi Didi. Hello Sven, how are you doing? Do you want to ask me anything at all? This is my first live on YouTube. I do this regularly on TikTok, but I decided to start it on YouTube as well. And basically what I do, I give advice to anyone for anything at all. So hit me if you have any question at all. And anyone else for that matter. Sa SB, but you see then my shame and guilt were around getting so triggered that triggered him and blaming myself for my part and his. So ... hopefully there's gonna be more. Let me try to understand this again. But you see, my shame and guilt were around getting so triggered that triggered him and blaming myself for my part and his. So just based on that, I'm going to assume something. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you had shame and guilt about your behavior, right? You had shame and guilt for the fact that you were getting triggered. So basically people telling you, don't be so triggered, don't be such a snowflake, don't be offended, right? If that's the case, they are demonstrating a very poor level of emotional intelligence. And so it's not on you. You're not speaking the same language, we're in two different places. And what you want to do really is to find a way to explain to them that this is me, this is who I am. If you care for me, respect my feelings. If you care about my feelings, you care about me. If not, then we're not compatible. You don't want to accept and allow in your life people who are going to tell you, don't be too sensitive, because there's a reason why you are sensitive, because you have unhealed wound. So you must prioritize yourself. You don't want to feel worse about something that is already bad to start with. Right? But this has also made me feel I will never connect with someone as well as I did with him, which I know is coming from a lack scarcity mindset. I think there's something about that person that reminded you of something that was familiar. And so there's a part of you that believes that no one is going to be ever able to replicate that, but that's not true. I want you to realize that there are zillions of people in this world. There are like zillions of them. And you have met one person who happened to have some traits that felt familiar to you. And that's why you fell, how do you say, head over heels for that person. But it's not true. There are plenty of people out there, and if you can remind yourself that the sooner you stop focusing on that person, the sooner you'll be able to see the other people and invite them in your life and realize that there are plenty of people who are amazing, who are kind, who are beautiful, and who would love you exactly for who you are. What you want to do is to learn how to love yourself, accept yourself, let go of the self-identity, the sense of self that decides that this is all that I deserve. If you can love yourself, then you attract people who can love you in the very same way. The way you love yourself or not is going to indicate to others how you want and how you ask to be loved. Yeah. Does it help at all? Sa SB? Sven, I try to follow the Stoic notion of right perception, but our trauma can cause such instant reactions, the world and those around us. Thumbs up. So I understand very much the Stoics, and a lot of people find solace in their wisdom. But I don't believe that there's a right perception, as in there's no such thing as one truth and one reality. So I don't know if that's what you mean. There's no such thing as one true, universal, and fixed reality. There's only our experience. And so the perception that we have, maybe that's what you mean. The perception that we have is going to create our experience. And so maybe what you mean by the right perception would be a perception that is empowering to us, as opposed to a perception that is disempowering to us. So if that's what you mean, then I agree. But a trauma can cause such instant reactions. Yeah, trauma is going to get us to be in a survival mode and to hyper-focus on the danger. The mind is biased, it's going to only look out for the bad stuff. We're going to be suspicious, we're going to be paranoid, and we're going to only highlight the bad stuff. So that creates a negativity bias that affects our quality of life and our very experience. And so if you want to follow any systems at all, such as the Stoics or the people, it's very important to address first your psychological blocks. Right? A lot of people want to expand their mind. A lot of people believe in the law of attraction, manifestation, and all those things. And I believe in that as well. But we can't do those things if we have not healed our emotional blocks first and foremost. And so, it's very important to realize that we are first creatures of emotions and feelings. We are creatures of emotions and feelings that think. We are not thinking creatures that feel. It goes in that order. And so whatever that we want to do from here in our life, we want to address first whatever is holding us back emotionally from getting those things. If we don't have anything anyway, if there's anything in our life that we desire that we haven't got, it is only because of that. It's only because we have emotional blocks that tell us that that thing is not available to us. So we are disempowered when we're trying to get that thing, or we are attracted to opposite, to sabotage it. What do you say about this, Sven? Does it make sense at all? Does it help? Sir SB, no, it was coming from myself. Basically blaming myself for getting triggered and then also triggering him, which led him and then things. Okay, I get it. Okay. So if it's coming from yourself, then what I want you to realize is that that self that you're talking about is not really yourself. The inner critic, that voice in your head that is telling you that you're not good enough, that you should be ashamed of yourself because of your behavior, is the voice of your parents. It's the voice of your caregivers. It's the voice of whoever looked after you and whoever you looked up to. And their voice is an echo in your mind, reverberating, and you believe that it's your voice. So you are being very unkind to yourself. And you're being unkind to yourself because you are following a narrative that has been given to you by your childhood. You don't have to be unkind to yourself. You don't have to be mean and nasty to yourself. Realize that that voice inside of you is not yours. And that will help you let go of it and start to choose what narrative you want to entertain in your mind instead. Does it make sense? If you're feeling that I'm terrible because I shouldn't react like that, maybe that's because you've been told that when you were a child. Most probably. Asma, definitely you are a man full of wisdom. Thank you, Asma. When I am worried, anxious, if stressed, I turn to God. So whenever I see your post, I take it as God indirectly answering my prayers. Thank you. So yes, I believe that, so whatever what you believe, I don't believe in God myself. I believe in the universe. So I could call it God every now and then as well. But it doesn't matter. What you are basically saying is that you understand that when you send an intent, there's a greater force that is manifesting it for you. And those are somehow related to people who believe in the law of attraction and manifestation. Right? Whatever you put out there, you get back in. Whatever goes around comes around. So yes, thank you. Synchronicity is that state of flow where we are indeed able to make those things happen. Thank you, Asma. Sir SB, yes, very similar, very familiar. We couldn't stop talk to each other from the start, spending 10 or 12 hours on dates, etc. It was the familiarity. Yep. When he told me he didn't have any feelings, he said, hopefully you will find someone who will develop feelings for you exactly as you are, which felt like a slap in the face because from this behavior, I genuinely felt like he did have feelings for me. But again, my therapist told me he did, but his fears numbed his feelings. So when I'd say, I don't know if he did, it doesn't matter. Maybe, maybe not. I don't believe that it's very useful to you, for you to understand whatever he was going through. I don't believe that this is useful. I believe that what is useful is to understand why you are feeling like that. It doesn't matter what people do, why they feel, why they do that. What matters the most is why it's hurting you, why you are feeling like that, why you are unable to let go of this after all the time. At this point in time, it's only extrapolation. Your therapist doesn't know him. And so, you know, it's not a bad thing to have different alternative, as in understanding the possibilities as to why he may have behaved like that. But what I would really do, my advice to you, is to focus on how you feel. Forget about what he did. Forget about his mental state and the reasons as to why he did that. It doesn't matter. We're all different. We all have a journey. We all have a baggage. And whether he loved you or not, it doesn't matter. He's not here. What matters is why you feel like that after all the time, whether he loved you or not. Just accept that people are doing all sorts of things in different ways for all sorts of different reasons, because people are people and it doesn't matter. Accept that at some point you reconnect with some people for an amount of time that is more or less long or short. And we don't need, the need to understand everything is born from a need to control things, but is born from fear. Again, the result of your trauma. And so I'd say instead of trying to explore the reasons as to why, whether or not he loved you or not, let go of this. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. So what? Focus on just you. Why am I being so triggered? And why can't I let it go from my mind? And then you may realize that there's some aspect of your childhood that can explain and show this. Sven, yes, you took me right. Fantastic. Thank you, Sven. Sven, when I consider right perception, I think of what is the truth in this. Is this colored by past negative experiences, etc.? So again, I understand what you mean. What is the truth in this? But from my perspective, there's no such thing as one truth. So I would rather say something like, is that truth beneficial to me? Which truth do I choose for myself? Which truth is kinder to me? Which truth is going to be helpful as opposed to another type of truth? This is the one thing that I'm not so keen on about the Stoics. They believe that there is one truth, one reality, and everyone must have some virtue to connect with that truth. But I don't believe in that. I totally believe in the quantum field, quantum physics, and there are as many perspectives as there are level of consciousness in this world, as there are people and sentience and anything else. But I understand where you're coming from. Sven, great insight, Didi. Thank you. Thank you. Sa SB, why it was important was because I thought I was crazy for a month afterwards. I needed to know. I didn't imagine it. Yes, you were going crazy because there's a part of your mind that needed to have some sort of control, have some bearing in this world. But what you want to do is to realize that it's precisely that gets you to be in that state. Change your habit of thought, let go of that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People are people, they do things because they do this, because of X, Y, Z. You know, we all project, we all have our or things to deal with, and there are zillions of reasons as to why that person did it, and there are zillions of different ways to interpret it, like literally. And so you want to address why it was so important for you to decipher him. It's not a bad thing to understand people, but if it comes to a level of obsession, it becomes a problem, and that's something we want to address. Right? Sa SB, but thank you, Didi. Your words always provide so much wisdom and help. Thank you so much, Sa SB. It's very kind of you. I appreciate. Sven, I just read your mission, Didi. Truly empowering from pain to purpose. I resonate completely. Bravo. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. It's an old statement. Maybe I need to upgrade it. I don't know. That channel, I think I started it like 2.5 years ago. And again, we change all the time. But yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Size B. Also, I think it triggered my unworthiness and unlovable core belief. So there you go. This is it. This is why it's so hard for you. It was so hard for you to let go of it, and even still now. Because it's not the fact that that person is not here with you anymore doesn't mean that to you, to your subconscious mind, it doesn't mean I am no longer that person. What it means is I am not worthy. It's because of me. It's because I am not enough. It's because there's something about me that is wrong. And so that shame is there. And you want to decipher what happened so that you can actually maybe fix some part of yourself. But yes, absolutely. I am not worthy. I am not lovable. This is what this means to you. Sa, he was a very ordinary person, so I hate how much power this had on me. I have very little dating experience, and due to trauma, I avoided dating men most of my life, so when a connection happens, I latch on and try to hold on for dear life. Okay, so very good level of self-awareness. So you know this, so you know that you want to take the trauma away, take the pressure away, and realize that there are tons of people out there that you can date. And many of them are safe people, many of them are kind people, many of them are interesting, beautiful, good people, and you will find them if you open yourself up to them. But if you believe that that person was the only one you could feel safe with because he felt familiar, then that will reinforce the idea that there's no one else like him, and it's not true. Give yourself a chance, meet people, gradually open yourself up to the world, and you'll be surprised. Parody. I think the hardest lessons I had to learn is that not everyone will remain true to me in life. Yes, indeed. The idea of good things not lasting makes me cry. And so now we are back into that, I don't know if John Williams is still here, but principles from Buddhism. You want to learn to love without attachment. As long as you have not understood that, you will suffer from a relationship, from your expectations that are unmet, from people just being people. The idea of good things not lasting makes me cry. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing ever stays the same. Good things, bad things, anything at all, whichever way that you look at it and you judge it, don't last. Your life doesn't last. No one lasts. And so think about it like that. Your pain, your hurt, your suffering, it doesn't last. But also the good things, happiness, joy, love, doesn't last either. But it's okay, because we suffer from the belief that things must last. If we can accept that nothing lasts, we can actually learn how to appreciate those things from a different angle. This is what I have right here and now. I am grateful for this right here and now. And if I know that that thing may not last, I actually appreciate it even more. Think about your life. If we lived forever, we'd be bored to death. There'd be nothing for us to try to achieve because it's ongoing. It is the very end of life, is the very fact that there is an ending to this life that makes it special and precious and urgent. And it's the same with everything else. If you have something good happening in your life, celebrate that moment. But if you attach your happiness to it, that the moment that thing is gone, your happiness will go with it or with that person. And it will go because everything goes. It will change. doesn't mean that you're going to lose everything. It only means that things do change in any shapes and forms, and so you need to be ready for that. When you are in a relationship, when you are experiencing something nice, appreciate that this is what I'm having now, and it's amazing, and I'm going to celebrate it, and I'm going to make the most of it. And this is mindfulness. You want to be grateful for what you have and focus fully on that thing and appreciate it, in the knowing that nothing lasts forever. And if it's there tomorrow, bonus, we'll do it again. A relationship is actually the best way to love people. This is precisely what unconditional love is about. If you can love without attachment, don't love the person, love the moment that you are creating with that person. So you still love the idea of the person, but that person doesn't belong to you. You don't own that person. What you own is the memories. What you own is the emotions, the feelings that you are sharing, that you are creating together. And then know that at any time that person can leave. If you can do this, you will love that person unconditionally because you're not going to expect anything from that person. I just love that person. I appreciate what we're doing now. And that's all. If you believe that you own that person, if you believe that that person owes you something, then you're going to set up a lot of problems for yourself and potential suffering in your life. And this is what non-attachment is about. It's about. I found a very lovely quote that I read the other day. I don't know if I still have it. And it's a beautiful little poetic story. Just bear with me, please. I've got tons of writings, notes. Okay, there you go. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this. I borrowed it from the internet. So it's from someone called Ajahn Chah. And the title of the story is called "This Cup is Already Broken." You see this goblet? Asked Ajahn Chah, the Thai meditation master. For me, this glass is already broken. I enjoy it. I drink out of it. It holds my water admirably, sometimes even reflecting the sun in beautiful patterns. If I should tap it, it has a lovely ring to it. But when I put this glass on the shelf and the wind knocks it over, or my elbow brushes it off on the table and it falls to the ground and shatters, I say, of course. When I understand that the glass is already broken, every moment with it is precious. That makes me shiver. I think it's beautiful. This is exactly the mindset that we want to have in regards to all the good things that happen to us. It's not being defeatist or pessimistic or negative. It's appreciating things at their utmost beauty, because beauty is ephemeral. It's not something that we can hold. It's precious precisely because it is ephemeral. And so is love, so is goodness, so is everything in our life. I hope it makes sense. Sir SB, the break-up and his change in tone only happened after I shut down and became cold and distant, and he looked terrified, so I know I triggered him. Okay. I find human behavior and interpersonal dynamic fascinating. Yes. I think this experience really got me dive deep into understanding the mind and heart traumas, etc. Yes. Yes, I also am absolutely obsessed and fascinated by the human mind and how we function. And it's a fantastic thing to explore because it affects every single aspect of our life. If you can understand the mind, we understand ourselves, we understand others, and we also understand why the world is in such state. And that changes everything. Mike, there should be laughter after pain. There should be sunshine after rain. Why worry now? Yes, there's always going to be ups and downs. And so we can focus on the ups or we can focus on the down. I mean, ups or down. Parody, I don't need to be right. I'm respectful of others' opinions. I just seem to end up accepting bad treatment instead of saying, I can't accept you into my life. I'm not going this anymore. Okay, so do this. From now on, make it a priority. Put a mental note in the back of your head and remind yourself that I don't want this anymore. Stop. Stay away from me. There are a lot of nice people. I'm going to stick with them, and all the other ones I don't care about. I did a post not long about this, going like this. Actually, I don't know if that's the one I'm going to put out today. But basically, it goes like this. There are only two types of people in the world. Those who love you, see you, support you, accept you for who you are, and the rest. That's it. Regardless of whether they're family, whether they've been friends for a long time, it doesn't matter. What matters is how they're making you feel in this moment. If you feel seen, if you feel accepted and supported, then you want to spend time with them. If not, stop wasting your time on those people anymore. They're not at the same level of frequency that you are. They're going through their journey, so let them go, doing their thing, to focus on yourself. Sven, my CPTSD has locked me in brain fog. Can you speak to how CPTSD symptoms can be rectified both mentally and physically? So if you have CPTSD, it's a long journey that is very, very unique and personal to you. So it depends. Therapy would be my first option to you. Finding the right type of therapy and the right therapies that can help you unlock that system that you have created in childhood to stay safe from the world. So you want to change your belief system, you want to change your paradigm, you want to change the idea that you have of the world being hostile. Everyone is bad, everyone is there after me. And you want to tell yourself and realize that whatever happened to you then was then. Now is now. Now things have changed. Now I'm no longer a child. Now I'm no longer helpless or powerless or voiceless. Now I've got power. I've got intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, experience. I've got resources. I've got freedom. I can do things. I can take actions that I couldn't when I was a child. And so I don't need the trauma to still be here with me. I don't need the hypervigilance. I don't need the mistrust. I don't need the overthinking anymore. Because I can deal with everything with my mighty brain, with my intelligence, with my imagination, with my intuition. And so this is what healing is about. It's about shifting your perspective of the world. It's no longer looking at yourself from the position of the child. I am powerless. The world is bad. There's nothing I can do about it. Which is what you felt then. When you're emotional in that moment, you are the child once again. But if you could see yourself like the grown-up, I'm in charge. I sort things. I fix stuff. I deal with problems. Then you will no longer need that, and you will be confident. You will feel at peace and safe and serene. And this is what healing is about. How you're going to do this, it depends. For some people, for most people, therapy is the best route. But then you can learn how to do it yourself through years of meditation and mindfulness, through a lot of reflection, through reading a lot of books so that you can understand more about the mind, by trying different protocols. There's a lot of things that you can do. You can adjust your lifestyle and your environment as well. Very important. But you do want to find out the root cause of the problem. When it comes to CPTSD, you have some subconscious systems that are there to protect you, and you want to essentially disarm them by finding a way to tell your subconscious mind that you don't need it anymore. Hope it makes sense. The tool that I use does that. So again, RTT is what I do for a living. It stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy, and it's a blend of hypnosis, regression, and belief reframing at a subconscious and emotional level. And what we do precisely, we go back into the memories of your past, where you suffered from your childhood, that created the CPTSD, and we're going to change the energy of those memories. And as you change the energy that you have of some traumatic memories of your past, you are also changing your personality, your sense of self. Because there's no such thing as the past. There's not a place called the past where we can return to and change anything. What we are changing is our sense of self by changing the emotional energy of our memories. Hope it makes sense. Parody. I think I created this fairy tale as a child to escape reality. So I'm not sure what fairy tale you are talking about, but yes, whatever that we suffer from is a narrative that we needed back then. And so, yes, whatever that you have in mind, I'd say yes, probably. Sa SB, parody, my CPTSD led me to using maladaptive daydreaming as a coping mechanism. Yes. Dissociation. I had to teach myself to live life in reality and not in my imagination, where everything was safe because I was in control. But that isn't life. The uncertainty and the different road are what makes life exciting, interesting, and unpredictable. So I would say good on you, but it's not all black or white. It's also okay to daydream at times. It's also okay to allow for your mind to wander. Now, if it is debilitating, of course, you want to, if you're driving, you want to know what's going on. Otherwise, you could crash in a tree or something like that. And so, yes, there's a time and a place for everything, but it's not all black or all white. But congratulations, well done on you for that realization and being able to do this. It's great. Parody, I love this. Thank you for reading that. Okay, something that I said at home. Thank you, Parody. Louis Terry, thank you for your videos. I've been going through a rough time and they have helped me so much. Oh, thank you so much, Louis. That's very kind of you. If there's anything you would like to address, I'm happy to stay a bit longer and talk about anything. Parody, at Sven, I also have CPTSD hugs. Yeah. Many of us, we have CPTSD and we don't realize this. Because a lot of conditions that we may have are an evolution of the CPTSD. Sven, thank you, Didi. Yes, that made sense. Thank you so much. Thank you. Parody, that happily ever after stuff. All right, okay. And thinking good things last forever. You know what? It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. I don't believe that it's a fantasy thing. So maybe it started as a fantasy, but if you believe in it, it's a good belief to have. I had that belief. Despite all the things that happened to me when I was a child, I always had that belief. I think I borrowed it from television, from movies, but I had the belief that there's a happy ending to things. And I believed that whatever I was going through, there would be a happy ending at some point. And so it's a belief that kept me going. It's a belief that kept me alive. It's a belief that was really, really the only drive when everything was going to, was dark and horrible. And so it's not a bad belief to have. Believing that things will get better at some point is a great belief to own, I think. So don't let go of it. Keep believing it. I believe in it, and I think that you should keep believing in it too. Happy. I know what you mean. You mean in a relationship? Okay, I get it. In a relationship, yes, I get it. No, nothing lasts forever. What I was referring to is the belief that things will get better. That's different. Sven Fredrickson, Hope, Viktor Frankl. Yes, Viktor Frankl, great psychologist and very inspiring human being, of course. Yes, hope is a very, very important. Actually, hope is the only one thing that matters. It's the only one thing that keeps us alive when we have nothing left. If we suffer from depression, if we've been really, really hurt for a long time and nothing good is happening, hope is the one thing that keeps us going. But I believe that we all have hope, if not cognitively, at least emotionally. Because we are creatures of emotions, and if we're still here, it means that there's a part of us somewhere that believes in hope. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here anymore. The human body is very fragile. It's very easy for us not to be here anymore. And so if we are, it means that there's a part of us that still hopes things are going to get better at some point. Even if we don't think it. Right? If we're still alive, it means, I believe, that we believe emotionally that it is there's still good things that are coming our way. Parody, that happily ever after stuff and freaking good. Okay, no, I read that. So I hope that I made myself clear, Parody. I understood what you mean. I understand. And I agree. I was talking about something else. Okay, so now it's 10 to 5. I'm happy to stay another, I don't know, 10 minutes if you want. Is there anything you would like to ask me before I go? Just so you know, I am on TikTok as well. You can find me there. I spend most of my time there, but I want this year to spend more time on YouTube. And so I've had a lot of requests. What I'm going to do from next week, I'm going to start to put some long form videos on YouTube. Maybe once a week at the start, and maybe more if I can create a system that allows me to be more productive. But I will not only continue posting 3 short videos every day on YouTube and TikTok, but also I will put 1 long form video, so you can ask me any topics you want me to cover. And when I say long, it's anything between 3 to 5 minutes, so maybe more if I'm inspired, but they are not too long anyway. I like things that are quite concise. And I will also keep on going live as I did today. I'm going to stick to Saturday for now. I'm going to try to go live maybe at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. UK time from next week. I just calculated at the beginning of this live, but if I do that, it means that I will be 6 p.m. in the UK. Will also connect with me with people who are Eastern time, 1 p.m. and people who are Pacific time, 10 a.m. for them. So hopefully I will have a little bit of different people on the Saturday. If you have any question, do ask me, write it down, and I will reply to them either on that thread or next time on my next live. And as I was saying, I am on TikTok, so you can find me there as well. On TikTok, I post all my new shorts, and I go live twice a week, mostly in the evening. So I don't know, it depends on my schedule and my level of energy and mood, but it can be any time in the weekdays. And so let me read the last comment if there's any more. Sven, Didi, without sharing personal details, what has been your most inspiring transformation you have seen in another? Oh, I've seen a lot. I'm a therapist. I've been doing it for a while, so I've seen some mega 360 happening so many times. Yes, no, I've become quite good at what I do, so I see a lot of this happening. I know it sounds very arrogant, but it's okay. I do this. Yes, people who transform, I don't know, people who transform everything about their life. Some people come to see me because of one thing, but because everything is connected to the same sort of root belief. When we fix them, we fix everything else. I don't know. I've got an example. Someone that came to see me for because she had some problems with her relationships and she was alcoholic. And she had problems with people, romantic relationships, but also with her children, with her family. And so we found out what was the blocks. We changed that, and not only she started to, so she was very happy. She stopped drinking. She started to train. She reconnected with her kids. But she also started to date, and she told me the first date that she had was the man of her dreams. She manifested that person exactly. He looked like the way, and he behaved in the way that she dreamt her favorite man to be. So I know that it didn't last, but still it was good because she lived somewhere small, not necessarily in a big city. So despite this, she managed to manifest that guy, and she had a great time. And she decided that that was enough to move on. But also something that we have not worked about because she was so excited to be her new self. She started to be more entrepreneurial. And the first thing that she did was to expand her business of dog walking. She had lots of dogs. And then she was thinking about starting some hotels for doggies, stuff like that. So she was, and doing all sorts of different projects. She was transformed at any aspect of, at any level of her life. So business, personal life, but also relationship with her family and health and mental clarity. And so that was a total 360. now I haven't seen that person in a long while, but the last time that I've seen pictures of her, she lost so much weight and she seemed so happy on those videos. So that was quite remarkable in the sense that we didn't only address the thing that she came to see before, but everything else followed through. So that was quite spectacular. Right? But she's one example that I have fondly in my heart because it was my first client who was so spectacularly changed. But I've got to say, I've seen that happening again with other people in many different ways. And so, yes, it's when we change the outlook that we have about our sense of self, we change everything. Because everything about our world, everything about our life, everything about our reality is down to two things. Number one, how we perceive the world. And number two, how we perceive ourselves in this world, which is the same thing, really. It's all down to really how we see ourselves, because the way we see ourselves will determine and shape the reality that we experience. If I believe that I am not enough, for instance, my reality is going to be very harsh. If I believe that I'm deserving of all the good things in life, my reality will be much easier and kinder for me. So yes, thank you for the questions. Then, did that satisfy you? Someone you have worked with, so yeah, so that's one example. But I've got to say again, I have many of those, and especially in the last few years, because the first years, as with everyone, I was learning how to be a good therapist. So it's a process. Yes, I've been doing it for 8 years now, and I love my job, and I'm constantly ever expanding and learning more. Sa SB, I would long form video and would love to see one on heartbreak from the perspective you shared today to refer back to. Okay, I'm going to put a mental note. I'm going to do a video about heartbreaks and hopefully that will satisfy you. If not, keep asking and I will keep. There's always many different angles to address anything. And so we can keep the conversation going one video at a time, one live at a time. Yes, I'm happy that heartbreaks. Okay, that's one request in. I have another one from Caroline. She asked me a long time ago, who were there at the beginning of the live. I don't know if you're still here now. About projections. So I need to do that as well. What does it mean when we say that people project? Parody. So is this accurate? We have the power to change our mood if we stop caring about judgment and say, F it. I deserve better than this. No one ever talked about this growing up. Let me try to understand. So is this accurate? We have the power to change our mood, yes. If we stop caring about judgment and say, F it, yes. I deserve better than this, yes as well. No one ever talked about this growing up. Yes, so yes, you can change the way that you feel by changing the way that you talk to yourself or to talk about yourself. Basically, the way we talk about ourselves or to ourselves creates pictures, images in our head. And as soon as we have a picture or an image in our mind, our body is going to create some emotions and feelings for us to feel that picture. And the feeling that we get depends on the association that we have about that picture. So that's the belief. The belief is how we're going to interpret a visual. And so if you choose better words that creates better pictures in your mind, you will end up creating better feelings and better moods and better emotional states for yourself subsequently. Yes, this is really, really, really powerful to remind ourselves. If you feel bad, change the dialogue, change the narrative, change the self-talk, and eventually you will feel better. Now, of course, it's got to be done in a way that is not too far away from how you feel about yourself, because what we say is happening here, what we feel is happening there. So if you tell yourself, I'm amazing, I love myself, but you are suffering from depression, your subconscious mind is going to go, what's going on? This is rubbish, it doesn't work, this is not true. So you need to find a way to actually just elevate how you feel a little bit so that you get in that direction, right? You can't go from to there from here. It's got to be one step at a time. See your emotions like a ladder. There's something called the emotional ladder. So there are different stages of it. And what you want to do is to find an idea of where you are on that ladder and just elevate yourself a little bit. And the next moment, more and more and more and more. It's a skill. So by virtue of repetition, you become better at it. But this is essentially how we learn how to talk to ourselves in a more empowering way. Think about you talking to a friend of yours who needs some help and guidance and support. If they ask you some advice, you will not take them from here to there. You will feel them, you will adapt your level of energy to theirs to understand how they feel, and you will elevate them a little bit. You will cheer them so that they're able to step onto the next level, or the next step, one baby step at a time. But yes, it's very true, a parody. So, and on the journey of self-love from CPTSD would be amazing. So I need something more specific, right? Because CPTSD is a big topic, and the journey of self-love is also a big topic. I can think about something, but at this point in time, there's so many things that I don't really know how I would address this. Let me think about this. The journey of self-love from CPTSD. Let me think about it. I may come up with something, but thank you for the input. I will put a note on it and maybe try to do something about it. Sven, thank you, Didi. Sven, I have to leave just now, but I appreciate your insight, Didi. Thank you so much, Sven. Do come back if you can. Again, either next Saturday from 6 p.m. UK time on YouTube, or if you're on TikTok, just wander there. And if you see me there, I go there twice a week live. So, choice. Thank you, Sven. Have a great day yourself. Parody. Thank you, I understand. I never felt a sense of autonomy, so it's now that I'm learning to not care or feel bad about letting toxic people go. Yes, you don't need them. You believe that you need them. You believe that you deserve them. You believe that you have some business with them, and you don't. You don't. You don't. Not anymore. Parody, and also trying not to allow it to lead me to feel lonely because I have my son. Yes, you're not lonely. You have your beautiful son. You have, and I'm sure that you have other people as well. We talked about you spending more time with your community in regards to the political situation in your country, in America. Okay, I'm going to go now. I think it's time for me to go. Thank you so much. If anyone is still there, or if you watch this playback, thank you for your attendance. And as I said a few times during that live, I will come back. So if you have any questions, any comments, do write it down in the comment section and I will reply to them. You can find me on TikTok. And also, if you need more details about me as a therapist and coach, you can find my details. I will find a way to put them on as a link on that live. I'm sure I can find out how to do that. If not, on all my other videos, there's always a list of my handles in the other platform and my website. Probably, thank you so much, Didi. Love you. I love you too, Probably. Thank you so much. And that'll be it for now. Okay. Bye-bye now. And have a great day, good evening, wherever that you are. And remember to be kind to yourself, look after yourself, and stay safe. Bye now. So I don't know where to click on. Maybe on the little cross. No. I don't even know how to stop this. That's terrible. Do I stop this on the cross? Are you sure you want to stop the streaming? Yes. End.